This conference will now be recorded.
So, good evening, everyone. Last class we discussed ADF Copy Activity. I said in the copy activity we are having source and sink, so which is expected a data sets. These data sets are internally connected with the linked service. Data sets are internally connected with the linked service. So last class I explained how to do the copy activity, guys. So here, so this is the assignment, guys. You can do practice. So in the session, during the session, I forgot to explain. Later I have done the recording and I added to the video. You can go to the video also. So here my requirement is, here I'm having a dev container, inbound folder, outbound folder. Okay, so here the assignment is, consider in the dev container I am having a source files folder. Now whatever the file is there, this file I want to copy into the outbound folder. So that is one assignment. Second one is, I'm having a inbound folder which is having a customer file. So when I'm copying to other, I want underscore new. I want to append underscore new. Okay, so this we can do as an assignment, guys. Now coming to today's session. So today I'm going to discuss. So first 5 minutes I'm explaining the copy activity again, and then I'm going to do copy activity a data set with the parameter. Okay. Now first 5 minutes I'm going to explain the yesterday topic only, guys. Go to here, go to your resource group. Here I am having a data factory. I'm having a container, dev container. I'm having an inbound folder. I'm having a files. Now data factory. Okay. Now my requirement is, consider I'm having a, okay. Now my requirement is, I am having a inbound folder. I am having a file. This file I want to copy into outbound folder. So we don't have anything. So for this, last class I told you we have to create a linked service and data sets. So first create a new pipeline, 3 underscore copy activity. Now, so here I want to do the copy activity. So copy activity, to do copy activity, last class I told you, here first we have to create a linked service. A linked service establish a connection to the source, and then we have to create a data set pointing to that one. As we are using the same data factory account, here linked service is already created. Okay, now I'm going to create a data set, new. So what is your requirement? In the inbound folder, I am having a file, customers file. Source is Gentoo Lake, binary format, ds underscore source, establish a connection, select the file, which one do you want to copy. I want to copy the file, inbound folder, customers.txt. This is the file. Okay, and I want output. So here guys, when I use the pipeline, pipeline contains a copy activity. Copy activity source is expecting a data set and the sync side is also expecting a data set. So I created one data set which is for source. My sync is a outbound folder. I'm going to create a data set for it. A ds underscore sync. Connecting to the Gentoo lake, connecting to the outbound folder. Dev container, outbound folder. So here, whatever the file will be copied into here. ds underscore source, sync side, ds underscore sync. Okay. Now publish all, publish. So right now, dev container customers.txt is here and outbound folder doesn't have anything. Now I'm going to do a debug. I'm going to do debug. Now completed. Now go to dev container, go to outbound folder, refresh it. You can see the file. Now here guys, if you observe, if I run this pipeline multiple times, same file is going to copy. But now my requirement is I want to modify the file name. I mean to say whatever the file name I am passing, that file I want to copy. This is my requirement. If you observe here, source side we are having a data set. Source side we are having a data set. Whatever the file you want to copy, that we have to mention in the data set. So first thing is whatever the file you want to copy, that we are going to mention in the data set. Here you can see this one. Okay. Now here we can see the parameters. Using these parameters we can handle this one. So before going to this one, let me tell you a brief introduction to the briefly I would like to discuss the Python related definition. So in C language, Python or Java, anywhere we are having a function, similar way here also. Consider I am having a definition, which is a definition which is required two parameters, a b. C equal to a plus b, print sum is C or return C. Here I declare a definition with two parameters. So whenever I am calling the definition, make sure I have to pass two parameters. Okay. Similar way, I am having a one more definition. So whenever I am calling a definition, get square of 5, get square of 8. So whenever I am calling definition, the definition is already declared with the parameter. Make sure you have to pass the parameter. I am repeating again. I declare a definition with the parameter. So whenever I am calling the definition, I have to pass one parameter. So here I declare a definition with the two parameters. Whenever I am calling the definition, make sure I have to pass the two parameters. Similar way, in the ADF, I am having a data set. This data set is also having a parameter. Whoever calling the data set, they have to pass the parameter. For suppose, consider my Python definition name is dataset. I am having a file name. Okay, print of file name is. Whoever calling this definition, they have to pass the file name. Whoever calling the definition, this is a Python related. Okay. Similar way here also, the syntax is like this in Python. Similar way here also, once you created a data set with a parameter, whoever calling the data set, they have to pass the parameter. Okay. Now observe this one. Guys, don't mind, I'm repeating multiple times because this is very, very important. So if you understand this one, trust me, going forward, you can play with the data factory. Now, here, I'm having a copy activity. I'm having a copy activity. I'm having a copy activity. Copy activity is having source and sink. Source and sink. So here I am having a data set I have to pass. So consider I am having a data set ds underscore source, ds underscore sink. Okay. Now I am having a data set here. Consider I am having a data set here. A data set here, which is ds underscore source. Here for the data set, we can declare a parameters. For data set, we can declare a parameter. So here, observe this one. You can see here, I am creating a, so here you can see, this is the data set which we created for the source. Okay, DSR. So here you can see the parameters. So here what happened is, data set is having a parameters. For suppose I declare a parameter, okay, I declare a parameter file name. File name. This is similar to declare a definition with the parameters. Declare a data set with the parameter file name. Whoever calling the definition, make sure they have to pass the parameters. So whoever calling this data set, now they have to pass the parameter. They have to pass the parameter file name. Okay. So here this is the one. Here this is the one. Once I received, I can do anything in my function. I am repeating. Once I received the value here, within the definitions, I can do anything with parameter. So here what happened is, consider here I am passing the value orders.txt. Once I pass the value here, so parameter is going to capture the value orders.txt. Here you can see the data set. In the data set, we can see file path inbound customers.txt. Okay, here I have given the hard coded value. Now, once I got the parameter file name, inside data set, I can use that one. So I'm going to make dev container inbound dataset dot file name. So this is the parameter. So for this data set, this is the parameter. What is the value? Orders.txt. Dev container inbound, this one. For suppose here I am passing the value. So here what I am going to do is, I created a data set with the parameter file name. Whoever calling the data set, he is calling the data set. Here already I declared a parameter, so he has to pass the value. Whatever the value he passing, he is going to capture that one. So this value I can use inside the data set. Okay, let me show you this one practically. Now I am going to create a data set. which is connecting to the Gentoo lake. Take a text format, ds underscore inbound underscore parameter. That is my dataset name. That is my dataset name. Here, I am already having a connection. Dev container inbound. I am selecting the inbound. Here I am not selecting any file name. Okay. Click OK. Click OK. Now, observe this one. So I created a data set. The data set name is this one. Here I created this one. I am not passing this value. Okay. Now observe this one carefully. This I am going to save. I am going to create a pipeline. Now, all of you carefully observe this one. Here I am using the copy activity. So here my requirement is my target folder is empty. In the dev container, in the inbound folder, right now I am having two files. I am uploading two more files. Okay, I am uploading two more files. Orders file, you can rename this one products file. Dev container outbound. Okay, now observe this one. Here, all of you carefully observe. Sync side anyway, I want to connect it to the outbound folder. Here you can see the outbound folder. Let it be. So when I open the data set, it is pointing to the outbound folder, which is fine. Source side, I am going to selecting the data set inbound with parameter. This is the data set I created. Now observe here. Okay. For the data set, I am creating a parameter. I said, one second. I said for the data set, I'm going to create a parameter. Whoever are calling the data set, they have to pass the parameter. Now, I'm creating a parameter file name. Okay, I'm creating a parameter file name. Who is going to call this data set? These people are calling the data set, then they have to pass the parameter file name. So in this data set, I'm going to create a one more parameter folder name. One more parameter folder name. Who is going to call the data set? Now they have to pass two values. Similar to in the definition, you are calling two arguments. So whenever you are calling, you have to pass two arguments, two parameters. Similar way, once you create a data set with the parameter, whoever calling the data set, they have to pass these parameters. Now consider what I am doing is, I am going to take only one parameter, file name. So here you can see only one parameter. Clear. Now, here I am passing the value orders.txt. I am passing the value orders.txt. This value will go to the data set and it is going to capture here in this one. This is similar to whatever the value you are going to capture here. This values I can use inside the definition. Similar way, once I pass the parameter, this parameter inside the data set I can use. inside a data set I can use. Now here the value is orders.txt. This value I can use in the connection. Go to connection, a dev container, inbound. So whatever the value I received, I want that value. Mouse left click, dataset dot file name. Now observe here carefully. I pass the orders.txt value. This value will go to here. When I open the dataset, here it receives the file. Using this, I am going to prepare the path and dataset now. Now dev container inbound orders.txt. Now file path in dataset. Okay. Sync side is anyway we are using the outbound folder. Publish all. Now debug. Debug. Now you can see here. Now go to dev container. Now you can see the outbound folder. The file is copied. Okay. Now what I am doing is in the inbound folder I am having a one more file products.txt. So here in the copy activity source side, here now I am passing the file name as products.txt. Products.txt. So this value will go to here, and here it is going to prepare a path. Here it is going to capture that one. Whatever the value it captured, here you can see the path. Dev container inbound products.txt. Now this file will be copied. Now go to here, dev container, go to outbound folder. You can see the file products.txt. Okay, you can see the file products.txt. Now, to hear anybody asking any doubts, nothing, right? Okay. Now, next what I am doing is in this one, I am passing value here, right? This is a value, right? This value I want to assigning from the variable. I can create a variable source file name. I can enter the variable activate set variable. I can give the value. Whatever the value I am using, create. I'm giving the value here. This value I'm going to use here. Okay. Let me tell you that one. I'm creating a new pipeline. Copy activity, the data set as a parameter. Now, consider I'm having a variable source file name. I'm having a value source file name. For this variable, I want to assign the value, which is a, you can use the set variable activity. Here, I am giving the variable name as get file name. For which variable you want to assign? For this variable, what is the value you want to assign? I want to assign the values as customers.txt. Okay. So before that, for my understanding purpose, I am going to clean my outbound folder. I would like to clean my outbound folder. Okay. Now, so here, when I'm trying to execute this one, you can see here a debug. So this variable having a value like this. Okay. Let it be. Now I am using the copy activity. This copy activity is expecting a source and a sink. Sink anyway, I'm using the outbound folder. Let it be. Sink anyway, I'm using the outbound folder. Let it be. Source side, I want to create a data set. So my requirement is I want to pass the parameter. Means whatever the file name I want to pass. So here I already created a data set like this. In this data set, I already created when I open the data set. Okay. Okay, for your better understanding, I am going to create a data set again. Okay, so here what I am source is outbound, let it be. So sorry, sync is outbound, let it be. Source side, I am going to create a new data set connecting to Gen2. DS underscore source underscore Gen2, establishing a connection already there. So here I can choose the dev container, I can choose the inbound. So here we are having a multiple files, so I am not providing anything. Now here you can see, sorry. Okay, now here for the data set, I am going to create a parameter file name. Whoever calling this data set, make sure they have to pass the value. Here I am using a data set, so make sure I have to pass the value. When I open this one, so whatever the value I received, I am going to prepare the file name dev container inbound dataset file name. Okay, inbound dataset file name. So once I declare a parameter inside the dataset, I can use that one. Now here I am passing. So do you have anything in the outbound folder? Outbound folder is empty. So here I am writing orders.txt. So this value will go to here. Okay. Here you can see, so file name. This file name I am using here. This file name I am using here. Now debug. Here you can see copy completed. Now go to here, dev container orders.txt. Now here I am passing the value, sorry, customers.txt copy activity. Sorry, here I am not passing this one. Okay, so here what I am doing is, instead of passing this value, I want to take it a variable. So what is the variable? Here you can see add dynamic content, go to variables, source file name variable. This variable having a value customers.txt. This value I am going to pass customers.txt. This value I am going to use here. This value I am going to use here customers.txt. Now dev container inbound customers.txt. Okay, publish all. Now Here what happened, guys? Whatever the file name I am passing here, that file will be copied. Okay. Now here, observe here, inbound I am having a products, right? So here I am passing the products.txt. Here you can see products.txt. This one I am using in the dataset. So now go to here. Now go to here. Go to container, outbound folder, this one, products.txt. So whatever the file name I have given, that file will be copied. Okay. For suppose observe here, I am going to upload. I'm going to upload one more file, sales.txt. Sale ID, customer ID, and the sale amount. Okay. Now I'm uploading a file. I'm uploading a file. Now, so my inbound is ready. Check in the outbound folder. Outbound is also ready. Okay. Now what I'm doing is, whatever the file name I am passing, this file will be copied. Sales.txt. Okay. So here, this variable is having a value sales.txt. This I am going to use here. This one I am going to use here. You can see here. Whatever the file name you are passing, that file will be copied. Okay, this one. Now go to dev container, outbound folder. Here I am having sales.txt. Up to here, any doubts, guys? Anybody? Fine. Next, publish all. Next, my requirement is, I am having a, under the dev container, I am having a inbound folder. Here I am having a files orders.txt, sales.txt, products.txt. Similar way, I am having a one more folder source files. Here I am having a files accounts.txt, okay, loans.txt, okay. Next, accounts, loans, reviews, reviews.txt. So whatever here, guys, my requirement is, consider I am having a outbound folder. Under the dev container, I am having a outbound folder. Now my requirement is, whatever the folder name, whatever the file name I am saying, that file has to copy. Earlier, only one file, whatever the file name I am saying, that file will be copied. Now I want to pass the folder name and file name. Whatever the folder name, whatever the file name, those it will be copied. Okay. Now here what I am doing is, first step is I have to prepare the environment. I have to create this kind of folder structure there. Okay. So here go to here, go to storage account. Like inbound, I am having a one more directory, source files. Right now inbound is having orders, sales, products. Orders, sales, products. Customer, remove it. Okay. Orders, sales, products. In here one more folder, sales folder, source files folder, accounts, loans and reviews. Accounts, loans and reviews. Okay. Now my requirement is, whatever the file name I am passing, file name and folder name. So here I am having a data set. For the data set, I am having a two parameters. One is a source file name, another one is a source files folder. Using these two parameters, I can prepare a path, I can do copy. All of you carefully observe this one. I am creating a new data set, new pipeline. Copy activity with multiple parameters. Here, what I am doing is, I am going to create a new data set connecting to Gen2 Lake only. DS underscore inbound underscore, okay, and source underscore multiple parameter. Take a linked service. Now, dev container, the folder can be anything, inbound or source file. So I don't want touch anything. Okay. So file name may be anything. So I'm not touching anything. This one. Sync side. Okay. So I can use the copy activity. Source side, I am using multiple parameters. Sync side anyway outbound folder. Sync side anyway outbound folder. Now source side, what I want is, I want to pass the folder name and file name to this data set. So when I open the data set, here I am creating a parameter like a folder name, like one more parameter, file name. Now in the connection, in the dev container, so here I have to pass the folder name. So it can be inbound or it can be source files. File name. So whatever the file I received, I am passing the file name. Okay. Who is going to whoever calling this data set, make sure they have to pass the two parameters. Now I can call the data set. So here folder name Wait. Folder name and file name. So here I am passing the folder name as inbound sales.txt. Sales.txt. Okay. Now publish all. Now debug. Debug. Done. Now observe here in the container, go to outbound folder, the file is copied. Okay. Now my requirement is source files folder reviews.txt. Go to here, source files folder. I am having reviews.txt. Source files folder reviews.txt. The file will be copied into here. Yeah, we can refresh it. Now you can see here reviews file will be copied. Okay. So here if you observe, I have taken these values here. Now instead of this one hard coded value, I'm going to create a two variables. One is folder name and another file name. Using set variable activity, I can assign the folder name and the file name. These details I am going to provide here. Okay, so which one you want to pass it to here. This is the one we have to give. So take this one as an assignment, guys. Okay. Now here, today assignments. Create dataset with parameter file name. Okay. So copy from inbound to outbound folder using dataset with single parameter. Okay. So whatever the file name I am passing, that file has to copy. Whatever the file name I am passing, that file has to copy. Okay. This is one thing. And another one is whatever I said, guys. As it is, do the same thing. And as per the requirement, do the parameters, guys. Okay. Guys, any doubts up to here? So now you have to take an assignment, guys. The same thing only. Okay. Instead of giving the values here, I can create a two variables. I can give the values here. These variables I am going to call here so that it is going to prepare a path. Now, guys, I can see some people are able to understand, some people are may not able to go through the recording again, guys. So because going forward, I am using completely data set with the parameter only. First time you will understand 30 to 40% as I said. Okay. go through the recording, guys. So next class, my requirement is I am having a okay. Next class, I will tell you. I am having a source files. Here I am having a files like this. A reviews underscore okay 21022025.txt. Okay. Now my requirement is whatever the date today date. If I run the pipeline today file has to copy. If I run the pipeline today, if I run the pipeline today file it will copy. If I run the pipeline tomorrow date will be copy. So my requirement is based on the date, which date I am running the pipeline, that particular date file I want to do copy. Okay, that particular file I want to do copy, guys. So we have to use the date functions. So how to copy today date and the current previous date, how to copy, I will tell you in the next session, guys. So next session I'm going to use the date functions. Okay, those who completed yesterday session, they can only understand today's session. Those who completed today's session, they can only understand tomorrow session, guys. Tomorrow also completely parameterized data set I'm going to use. Okay, so this is for today, guys. Any doubts, anybody? Anything, guys? Tomorrow, guys, Saturday, tomorrow I can take a session, just half an hour I will take a session tomorrow. Okay, so next week onwards, Saturday won't be any session, but many people are joined today also, so that's why tomorrow half an hour I will take a session, guys. So only this part I will explain how to copy the file. Half an hour tomorrow I will take a session, guys. So if those who are all missing, you can take the recording as well, guys. Make sure, okay, after completion of tomorrow Sunday, make sure you have to do practice. Whatever the things are required for practice related Azure account, we can provide, guys. Okay, those who already joined for the course, so for data factory I can provide the Azure account also. So make sure Sunday you should be perfect, then only Monday onwards it will be easy. Tomorrow anyway I will take a session half an hour. You can plan accordingly, guys. If you have any friends and colleagues, guys, if you have a team members, okay, so let them also going to join. So I will share the recording sessions, and yesterday session also I kept in the my YouTube channel, guys. So here in the playlist you can see Azure data engineering demo videos. Here you can see the last four sessions, guys. 3 and 4 you can see. Okay, so these are all 1 2 3 4 you can see, guys. So you can plan accordingly. So you can see 1 2 3 4. Anybody, any doubts, guys?
Sir. Sir.
Yeah,
Good evening, sir.
thank you.